Have you ever caught yourself hesitating before saying yes to an invitation? You sit with the question longer than you used to. Once upon a time, your calendar filled quickly. Brunches, birthdays, community events, family get-togethers, you were always there. You showed up, fully joyfully. You drove across town, laughed with neighbors, dropped in on grandkids' soccer games, recitals, and bake sales without thinking twice. But something feels different now. You pause more often. You weigh the energy it will take, not just physically, but emotionally. And maybe in that pause, you wonder if something's wrong with you, if you've lost your spark. Let me tell you this, you haven't. What you're feeling is more common than you think, and it's more than okay. It's a sign of growth, because as we age, our energy becomes sacred. We start to protect it. It's not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. It's wisdom earned through years of giving, showing up, being strong for others. Now, you're learning how to be strong for yourself. This is what we're going to talk about today, woman. 2, woman with honesty and compassion. Why visiting others just isn't the same anymore. And why that's not a bad thing at all. In fact, it might be one of the most loving, empowering choices you can make in this chapter of life. Let's start with the heart of it, all your energy. In earlier years, it felt endless. You could run errands, stop by a friend's house, share. Stories over coffee for hours. You rarely felt the cost. You moved through your days with a certain spark. But now, even in good health, your energy comes in waves, shorter bursts. It needs recovery time. You realize your reserves are precious and that it's not just okay to be more selective, it's necessary. Think back. How many times have you said yes to a visit out of habit, only to come home utterly drained? You smiled, made conversation, went through the motions. But inside, you were watching the clock. That's not because you're cold or antisocial. It's because your body and heart are asking you to pay attention. There's a quiet shift that happens when you begin to ask, who fills me up? Who leaves me feeling peaceful? Who, if I'm honest, leaves me feeling more empty than before? One friend of mine, John, in his late 70s, said something that stuck with me. Used to feel guilty turning down invitations. He worried people would think he didn't care. But then he noticed something. The friendships that truly mattered didn't need constant interaction. The people who loved him understood. They didn't need to see him every week to feel connected. And when they did see each other, it was deeper, more real. Not an obligation, but a joy. This isn't about isolation. It's about intention. It's about giving your time and presence to what nourishes you, not just what's expected of you. You don't have to attend 5 gatherings a week to be a good friend. You don't have to drive across town for coffee with someone who doesn't make you feel seen. Your time, your energy, your peace, these things matter now more than ever. And speaking of peace, let's talk about another quiet truth. The older we get, the less tolerance we have for stress and drama. When we were younger, we absorbed a lot small insults, judgments, passive-aggressive comments. We tolerated tension at gatherings, family criticisms, reliving old conflicts, because that's just how it is. We told ourselves to keep the peace. But now we keep the peace by walking away. My friend Susan used to visit a certain group of relatives every Sunday, just out of habit. It was expected. She left those visits feeling exhausted, like her spirit had been bruised. It wasn't a big fight, just a steady stream of negativity. Subtle criticisms that wore her down. One day she asked herself, "Why am I doing this to myself?" And she stopped, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. That's what real boundaries look like. Not a wall, but a door. A decision to preserve your well-being. Avoiding certain people doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. You've lived long enough to know that not every relationship belongs in your inner circle. Not every person deserves a front row seat in your life. And that brings us to something many people don't talk about, but you probably feel deep in your bones. The quiet joy of being home. Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. And the older you get, the more you feel that pull to your chair, your space, your quiet. Mike, a widower from our church, is to make himself attend weekly meets, game nights, dinners, just to stay active. But he felt uneasy each time. Not because anyone was unkind, but because it wasn't his space, he told me. I realized I didn't have to keep leaving home to feel alive. I could invite the right people into my world instead of always stepping into theirs. Now he hosts friends for coffee in his backyard. They laugh. They talk hand when they leave. He's still wrapped in the comfort of his own sanctuary. No traffic, no draining conversations, just peace. That's the shift. You stop forcing connection. You start curating it. It doesn't mean you've stopped caring. It means you've started caring deeply about how you feel. And eventually, you notice something else. Your social circle changes not necessarily in number, but in depth. When you were younger, it felt important to keep every friendship, to stay in touch with classmates, coworkers, neighbors from old places. You sent cards, checked in, remembered birthdays. It was beautiful, but exhausting now. Now you realize that not every relationship is meant to last forever. That's okay. Linda, 68, said it best in book club recently. I used to think friendship meant always being there. Now I realize it means being there when it matters. That's the kind of wisdom this season brings. You stop performing in relationships. You stop over-explaining, overextending. You cherish the connections where silence is comfortable, where love doesn't need to be constantly proven. You prune your garden not to throw people away, but to make room for growth. Less noise, more harmony. Fewer friends, deeper bonds. And here's something else. Your perspective on life itself shifts. You stop chasing every invitation. You stop measuring your worth by how social you are. You start asking, what brings me peace? David, a retired firefighter I know, said something profound after turning 70. I spent so many years showing up for others, said I forgot how to show up for myself. So he changed, started spending quiet mornings walking tree-lined paths, reading, sitting on his porch with nothing but a mug of tea in his thoughts. In that stillness, he found something no gathering ever gave him: clarity. This isn't withdrawal. It's awakening. You don't need a full schedule to feel full inside. You need time to think, to breathe, to feel. And yes, sometimes to say no. A soft, intentional no. No to overextending. No to draining visits. No to sacrificing your peace. Because the truth is, this stage of life isn't about fading. It's about refining. It's about choosing your rhythm, your boundaries, your pace. Sometimes care looks like a handwritten note instead of a long visit. Sometimes it's a 10-minute phone call in the sun instead of a noisy dinner table. And sometimes it's not showing up at all, just resting in your chair, dog at your feet, knitting in hand, tea on the table. That too is love. You see, when you stop performing and start listening to your body, your heart, your inner knowing, become more yourself than ever before, you begin to ask, where will I feel most peaceful today? That's not selfish. It's sacred. The people who truly know your heart will understand. Real friendships are not about frequency. They're about depth, about respect, about understanding that love adapts. Carol, my friend of 40 years once, said, "The best friends are the ones you never have to explain yourself to." And she's right. We go months without speaking, especially during busy seasons. But when we talk again, it's like no time passed. That's a real connection. You probably have people like that too. Yes. The ones who don't demand your energy but cherish it, who don't guilt you for changing but honor the change. And if someone doesn't make you feel bad for visiting less, take a deep breath and smile. You're not less loving. You're just more aware. This is the beauty of aging. You finally understand what you need, not what others expect. You get to redefine connection. It might look like sharing a memory, baking a pie for someone, or simply praying for them in silence. Quiet love. Thoughtful love. Unseen, but deeply felt. Earlier this year, I met a woman named Mary. She's 72 and lost her husband recently. Everyone told her to stay busy, to get out more. But Mary said, "I'm not lonely. I'm finally getting to know myself." And I like her. Isn't that beautiful? She wasn't retreating. She was healing, listening, becoming. That's what this chapter is about, not rushing through life, but stepping into it gently, bravely. You've earned this. Through years of giving, raising families, holding others up now you hold yourself. You don't need to prove your loyalty through constant presence. The people who matter already know your heart. So if you've been feeling guilty for slowing down, saying no, choosing stillness, please hear this. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing something beautiful. You're honoring your time, your peace, your soul. That's what wisdom looks like. That's what freedom feels like. And you're not alone. So many women your age feel this too. They just haven't said it out loud yet. If this message resonates, share your heart in the comments below. What's one thing you've learned about yourself at this stage of life? What brings you peace now that didn't before? If this helped you, please like and share it. Send it to a friend who might need these words. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Strong Elderly Life, because your story, your presence, your journey, it matters. Here's to living gently, bravely, and fully, especially now.